Hey everyone, how you doing? This is Amon Green, Gourmet Packers all-time leading rusher, and you're watching Packers Total Access Live, your daily source for Packer content. Go Pack, go!
What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. As Daryl points out, Clay is late. Again, we are live on YouTube, Facebook, X, Rumble, MySpace, the Vine. We're on everything here this evening on this
Vine.
Yeah.
Did you have a Vine, Clay?
No, man, I couldn't figure out those technological advancements at the time. You kidding me? I heard that a lot of folks did it for the Vine. This guy included, right? He definitely did it for the Vine. So, now listen, I'm glad it's Friday. We had an awesome week. We're heading into the weekend. Got some hot weather on the way. We're supposed to hit 90 tomorrow, so nice. It's going to be beautiful down here. Ready to all right. Ready. Holmes in the chat. Jeez, Pete, bub. Ready to talk some Packers. You just got to train yourself not to look at the chat. You know what I'm saying? That's what you got to do. You got to train yourself not to look at the chat. So
mine was just TikTok before TikTok. That's all.
Everybody's asking who's the burner up top. If you guys have watched this show for some time, you can go to the very top of this chat, and I think you can figure out who this is.
Is it this guy right here?
No. Similar status there. So we're going to go ahead and ban this one too. I'm sure you'll create another account, but anyone, like I said, who's watched the show for a while, you'll remember that there used to be someone who watched the show religiously. They would get in here and take over the beginning of the chat and just rapid fire every thought that they had about how the Packers were horrible. Matt LaFleur needed to be fired. Then it was Jordan Love wasn't the guy. Then it was Goody needed to be fired. And then the training staff sucked. And there was a gentleman who sent me a DM. There you go. Sent me a DM on Twitter basically saying, man, you're not going to like my comments tonight. I'm going to let you guys know how it is and blah, blah, blah. So we blocked him. All right, whatever, dude.
Sit your butt outside.
He got blocked, and then every now and again he'll pop in with different accounts, and you know it's him because he just goes rapid fire at the beginning the same way, right? So that is what it is.
And it's a different time zone over there too, so it's like,
right.
Hey,
Yeah, and I always point that out too. So hey, glad he swung through, but yeah, Bates knows who it is. I know Bates knows who it is. So we're going to go ahead and ban this cat. We'll go ban user and delete their comments. So it was nice talking to him. I love how he just immediately started firing on Rashawn Gary's numbers, how bad they were. Didn't even have the accurate numbers. He's one of these people that just, he just kind of hangs out on PFF, looks at the spreadsheet and determines that player's bad without cross-checking anything. So, but with that being said, it's the off season, man. It's June 20th, Tim. You're gonna get that in these June shows for sure, man. People get a little antsy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, little slow news feed time right now across the league. Kind of waiting for certain things to drop. Getting excited for camp and preseason ball. So hey, slow news day. What are you gonna do, right?
That's the way it is. I think Chris got it too there. Maybe looks like he might be on the right track. So. All right, I'll tell you who else is on the right track. And that's our boy Christian Watson. I don't know if did you guys see his Instagram post earlier today?
Yes.
Look at this. Look at this right here. Let me see if I can zoom in just a touch. I don't know. I'm trying to do this a little bit different way, but
here's the guy.
Emilio, tell me what you see here with Christian Watson's Instagram post. Let's actually just take it on out here. I put a tweet out and just said, Christian Watson looking way ahead of schedule. Someone check on the quote. He's not even running route yet, crowd. They are not well today. As you can see, look at my boy out here. A little out and up, right? Just a little out and up. Listen, there's no sharp cuts, but my man's going to me, it looks like he's going about 70% there, right? And starting to cut on it now. We've seen him at practice a little bit, over there with medicine ball, throwing that thing around and doing some other leg exercises. I just want to get your all's take on it, man. To me, this looks – we didn't see Gary doing this stuff, right? Now, granted, if I remember correctly, when Rashawn Gary came back from his ACL, it was kind of everything was in the background in the offseason, and then all of a sudden they go to training camp and he's out there kind of doing stuff, right?
Didn't he have a couple of like workout videos that he did, like where he was like pushing sleds and stuff like that after it?
He may have. He may have. I may just not remember it.
But no, but you're not seeing the long kind of like stretch runs, right? It's
Right.
I'm happy. One, I'm happy he doesn't have a brace on. I feel like that's a huge mental hurdle that he's gotten over. And two, just being able to, all right, I'm going out there and I'm running, I'm strapping up cleats, and like just you have to put blinders on, take your head out of it. Like, all right, I'm just gonna run routes like I did when I was 7. Like if it tears again, whatever. Like I can't play scared the rest of my life.
Yeah.
I agree. Think of what it takes to get to the point where they're letting you play without the brace, or they're letting you get to that level in your rehab where you're able to cut like this and run routes. Again, we get all excited, right? He's got no shirt on, running around in his silkies, catching a ball, no coverage. But hey, I mean, this looks really promising, right, guys? I mean, I don't want to get ahead of myself here, but
I do.
Maybe Scoop comes back after the bye week 6.
Whoa.
Hold on. You heard it. You heard it from a fan right here.
I'll tell you, man, there's a lot of people that pointed that out on X earlier when I tweeted this out. They were like, hey, look, first 5 weeks of the season, let him sit it out, start on pup, activate him for week 6, get him out there for a few reps, I could see it, man. I really could. And if that's the case, then that would put him at what? Let's see, if the season starts first week of September, we're looking at mid-October, right? So you're talking about if he stays healthy the rest of the way, playing 10 games. Guys, that's huge. Like, I was expecting 4 games, And
like you said, keyword activated, right, Clayton? Like you make him active. It doesn't necessarily mean he's going to start and, take, 40 snaps right away. You're going to work him back into that lineup a little bit, which would be a good sign to see coming out of that bye week, right?
Right. You got 3 weeks, right? Once you.
Yeah, as Coach Lynn says here, maybe the tear was not as bad as we previously thought. And that's the thing, like, none of us know that, right, Coach? Like, they're quiet on that stuff, and rightfully so. They're not going to come out and just spill all the beans. Here's everything that was wrong with it, kind of keep that close to the vest, that type of thing. But
maybe nothing happened to the meniscus there. The PCL was good, the MCL was good. Like, maybe it was just a straight ACL tear, and you're new patella, cut that graft, attach it, and you're good to go. But yeah, no, It is nice to see him moving around. Obviously, it's early. Obviously, that, like Tim was saying, nobody's there. I thought it was 2 lacrosse creases for a second. I'm like, what is he doing? But no, just get through the dummies there and run your route. And I think that I'm happy that he's out there.
Dude, as good as that looks, right? This is probably half speed at best. Running real aggressive into those cuts, and then that break, just kind of testing your legs a little bit. But This is like maybe half.
You don't see a chop down or anything, Tim. Obviously, it's one rep, but he probably could have done it. But comebacks or curls, nothing like that, where you're chopping down, putting a lot of stress on the front of the knee. Haven't seen a bunch of that, but also we saw him jump and twist, a couple weeks ago with a weighted ball. So.
Yeah. At the very least, we can say clearly he has not had any setbacks, right? Like, he's not going to look like this at this point. Had a setback.
I agree with that, Tim. To me, it's like also there's that extra motivation of it. It's not like he signed a 4-year deal. He was in the second or third year of it. And now it's like, okay, let me just ease back into this, get ready for a contract year, and then go at it next year. This is something where he's playing for the big bucks this year. He really is. And if he goes out there, and let's say, and again, guys, we're not guaranteeing this. Obviously, we're not a doctor here. We're not saying, oh yeah, he's definitely he's going to be back 1st of October or even October in general. Let's say,
I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
Say he comes back in November, right? And if that's the case, let's say he gets 5 or 6 games in. He's going to be looking to go, hey, look, guys, I'm fully healthy. Right, throw me right back in where I was. And if he goes out there and he averages over 20 yards a catch like he did last year before he got hurt, give him some money. You know what I mean? Like, sign it. Because the other thing that really sticks out to me about Christian, and again, you got to prove that you're healthy. I get that. And they're going to be extra cautious with it too. But the addition of Matthew Golden, rookie contract, right? Jayden Reed, you got him for 2 more years, rookie contract. Dontavion Wicks, 2 more years, rookie contract. You've got the room there that you can afford. I'm not saying pay him $30 million per, But him coming off an ACL, if you notice it right off the bat, like, hey, this dude looks like he's good to go, you could probably get him for $15 million per. Like, I don't think that's unreasonable. You guys correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. Like, I think in his specific situation too, he's looking at it like, man, any offer that I get, and I'm not saying he would just take bottom dollar. Obviously, I'm not even saying to offer that. I'm saying pay him what you think is realistic. And that's why I think it could be a 1 year kind of patch deal there. Like, hey, let's give him a 1 year deal, some guaranteed money, make it worth it. Kind of a prove it deal like we did with Jordan Love coming out of that awkward spot where we didn't really know what we had in Jordan. And I still am of the opinion that Jordan did the team a favor by signing that deal. He could have held their feet to the fire and like, nope, I'm going to test free agency. He could have done that, So I think with Christian, I hope he proves it and he does it in enough time. Like if he does come back in mid-October, proves he's healthy and gets back to where he's 3/4 of what he was from a statistical standpoint, and the Packers just treat it like, you know what, let's do the same thing we did with Gary. He's proven he's healthy. Let's give him some money here. Let's give him a 4-year deal, 3-year deal, whatever it may be. So,
yep.
As Chris said here, I understand this standpoint too. I need that 1-year deal, y'all. I get that. That's kind of like, I think that's probably the way that Goody would approach it if he proves he's healthy, just to kind of cover, because we know Goody is a little. Am I wrong there? Does it kind of feel like Goody's a little conservative in this regard? You know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, justifiably so, right? I mean, you call it what you want. I mean, he's coming off injury, right? Let's be real. I don't think Scoot would take a 1-year deal.
No,
maybe I think he's looking for a 3-year or something.
What about a 3-year with like one full year guaranteed? All right, you know that you're going to get that, but can we work on the rest with incentives, or just being able to play in the games and get you back up? But we'll rework it at the end of 2. Going into 3 if you really ball out the next 2 years. So I think that's a possibility. And from Doc in the chat, Holmes MD1, this is fairly remarkable work given the injury timeline, in my opinion.
There you
Thank
go.
you, man. And daily deposits, look at the little text right there. Obviously, man's out there working every single day. It's not like he's taking it off. That's what Jordan was saying in his interview in the locker room there a week or 2 ago. It was just like, yeah, Christian Watson, he's out there working every single day. Like that man just doesn't quit.
Like if anything, you're worried about a guy like Scoot maybe overdoing it, right? You want to keep an eye on him and say, all right, cool, keep putting in the work, but don't overdo it and set yourself back. But so far, so good, man. Looks good.
Yeah. So like when we were kind of talking about that just a second ago with Christian's kind of perspective on the potential deal, you said, you probably wouldn't take a 1-year deal, right? Put yourself in his shoes. You're coming off that ACL, right? The market is probably going to be a little bit hesitant if you don't get to prove, hey, I'm fully healthy. Okay. So let's say he does come back November 1 and the Packers are trying to ease him back into that role and they offer him a 1-year deal with a significant amount of guaranteed money. Would you not be enticed to take it? Or are you saying, nope, let's go for the 3 to 4 year deal? Because I guess I'm just basing it off. Oh God, AFM's mom's back in the chat. I'm kind of basing it off of what Jordan Love did. And I think it, again, I don't mean to keep taking it back to Jordan, but it just shows you how much, I don't know what the right word is here, the quality person that Jordan is, that he would be willing to go, you know what? Yeah, I'll take a 1-year prove it deal and prove to you guys I'm the real deal. And then even Goody, you guys remember, Goody was like trying to play hardball the next year. And that's where he's like, okay, I'm going to do a little bit of a hold in here and get his money, obviously. So I don't know, man. I could see both sides. I can understand if he wants a multi-year deal, but I could also see it being something like, let me get a little bit of guaranteed money, prove it to him. I want to be in Green Bay, that type of thing. And obviously, congratulations to Christian. I think his wife's name is Lakin, I believe, as they've got a baby on the way as well. Really, really cool. Could be a huge year for the Watson family.
Absolutely.
Man. Dan Mullen with the super chat said, it would be crazy seeing them give Watson a multi-year deal after biting the bullet on Jair's release. It'll probably happen, though, if he balls out. I think he summed it up perfect there, Dan. It's like, this could go in either direction, because we've seen him give the money to Gary right after the ACL as soon as he proved he was healthy. But then we've seen him kind of hesitant with Jordan, even though it wasn't an injury-related thing. It was more of a prove-it type thing, which I think at the end of the day is very similar situation. Jacob joining us now. What do you think about this, Jacob? We're just watching this video here of Watson to me, he looks like he's ahead of schedule. And I know there's some Twitter doctors out there that kind of disagree. They're like, oh no, I think he's right on schedule. This is to me. I didn't expect this. I didn't expect him cutting on it. And granted, they're not hard.
Best guy around.
And thank you for the super chat, Dan. Go ahead, Jake.
No, I mean it's definitely encouraging to say the least. To see where he's at this point. I mean, I was amazed just about a week ago watching him do those like overhead medicine ball throws, thinking like, hey, he shouldn't be squatting like that. He shouldn't be jumping around like that, stretching like that. Now to see him progress to this point, like you said, not hard cuts, but them some cuts. I will say that's like Emilio on the mower right there. Them some cuts.
Oh, that's. I mean, you've seen the zigzag picture. It's in the Patreon group. That's basically what I did right there.
Yeah, that's AI, but whatever. Yeah.
That ain't AI.
Definitely doesn't look like tentative, right? He doesn't look like he's trying not to hurt himself or anything.
No.
He seems to be running with some fluidity pretty early here.
I mean, he's ran the route 100 times at this point. The dude's ready to go. I mean,
there you go. Drew D with the super chat. Thank you, Drew. He says whether we sign Watson or not might have to do it with guys like Wicks step up or not. Yeah, if Wicks steps up, what that gives me is a little bit of hope for him to play boundary X. I think that's what he's best suited for. But obviously, with the drop issue, that makes it a huge issue because he would be taking over for Romeo Doubs next year. If Romeo Doubs is on the roster and they don't trade him, what I see is Romeo Doubs in the X. I see Matthew Golden in the Z and the moving Z. And I see Jayden Reed in the F or the slot, as most people know it. So that's kind of the starting three that I see. And then you would have Wicks rotating into the boundary X for Rome to spell him as well as the slot. Bo Melton played a lot of F last year when Jayden Reed came off the field when he was a little banged up. Then you got Savion Williams, who some people think he could play X. I don't know if I feel that comfortable with him playing X. I think we would use him a little more in the Z or the F so he can move around and do some of those jet sweeps and things like that as well, kind of like what Jayden Reed does. But if Jayden Reed can play Z and Savion comes out in camp and he's kind of on fire and proves that he's an NFL caliber player, then kick him into the slot, and then you're rotating Jayden Reed and Matthew Golden in and out of the Z. And some people think Matthew Golden can play X. So what it comes down to is Goody's drafted some pretty versatile players. Like you've got a handful of players that can play pretty much all three positions, and that's absolutely key to Matt LaFleur and how he wants to plug and play these players. Because
His receiving is tough.
he's always said you can't play F in his offense if you don't understand the choice routes. It's just impossible. And what that means is, like, think about it. When you're in the F and you're lined up in the slot, right, and they cheat motion you over to the left to a 2x2 set, you've got to understand the choice responsibilities and the choice route of you being in the number 2 on the opposite side. Or they may even cheat you over to where you cheat to the 1 in kind of like a stack look. We've seen that a lot of times at the boundary as well. So that's the thing that's going to slow someone like Savion down. But like our boy Drew D just said, and thank you for that super chat, Drew. Appreciate you, buddy. If Wicks can step up and take a little bit of that burden off of Dobbs there in terms of just being the X. I said this 2 years ago. Tim, do you remember? And Jacob, I'm sure you remembered as well. We'd be watching tape, and I'd be like, have y'all noticed that they're asking Romeo Doubs to run go route after go route after go route? I was like, that dude's underappreciated because he's just stretching the field constantly stretching the field. And I know some people roll their eyes at that, but think about having to run a go route, 5 times, 6 times on one drive.
Yeah.
I walk my garbage cans down to the damn curb and I'm out of breath.
What nobody ever talks about is you got to run back. So you're running the 9 up the seam, and then you got to jog back to the huddle, or sometimes sprint back to the huddle,
right?
And then you're being asked to run another go ball. I mean, yeah, I see it, man. It's tough,
and it's just not to mention the blocking, right?
Yep. We
run an outside stretch play, a little outside zone, and you got to put your hands in the chest plate and get in there and get dirty and dig a safety out. Like it's I don't know, man.
No block, no rock.
AFAM's mom evidently been in trouble here lately. She said, I only run go routes when the police are behind me. So there you go. Appreciate that. You heard it from a fan right here. Anything else on Christian Watson here, guys? I thought this was cool, man. I got really excited when I seen this come down the pipe.
Scoot's definitely got better hair than AFAM's mom, for sure.
Ooh. That's
Just an observation.
Yeah, I think about 99% of today's population has better hair than AFAM's mom. Is AFAM in the chat tonight? I feel bad us taking shots at him if he's not in here. You got to talk crap to somebody's face. You can't do it behind their back. You know what I mean?
Right. No, I haven't seen him yet.
All right. Let's move along now to a tweet that came down the pike here. ML Football had tagged their account in and thought this was kind of cool. As we hit on it a little bit earlier in the year. Let's see if I can zoom out just a touch here. We hit on this a little bit earlier in the offseason, but I thought this was cool. He says, predict the 2026 NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year. Cast your vote by commenting below. The most commented answer wins. Winners for all fan-voted league predicted. All right, so it says Offensive Rookie of the Year. Here's the finalists, all right, in the Offensive Rookie of the Year prediction. Cam Ward, quarterback for the Tennessee Titans. Ashton Gianti, running back for the Raiders. Travis Hunter, wide receiver for the Jaguars. Omarion Hampton, running back for the Chargers. And our very own Matthew Golden for the Green Bay Packers here. How cool is it that of all the rookies there, of all the offensive rookies, that they chose Matthew Golden as one of the five? You know,
I love it.
And I think it plays, Tim, a lot into the fact that Christian Watson, we know he's going to start on the pup list, right? So,
Yep.
But I don't know, man. Matthew Golden comes out here and just lights the world on fire. This offense is going to go to another level. And I'm trying to curb the enthusiasm, trying to set realistic expectations. But as we talked about before, Jacob, what did you have the over-under on that, man? You remember what there was a betting site. I can't remember what it was. Was it 650? Is that what it was on his yardage or something like that?
I think it was around 700.
Yeah, I think it was 700 was the over, right? Over 700.
This is 700 kind of give or take, and I think it was only like 4 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
So
if he comes
I'll
out
take
and he has 700 yards receiving, bro, I just want to get your all's take on that. Because, think about that. And then as he's hitting his stride, Watson comes back off the pup, right? You got Romeo doing his thing at the X. We got Jayden Reed, who's one of the most underappreciated slot receivers. We'll talk about him next as another stat came down the pocket. I just want to get your all's take on this Matthew Golden thing here.
I would just start by saying that, this list here by ML Football, these 5 rookies, man, they're all going to be impact players right away, right? I mean, Cam Ward is going to get a lot of playing time. Ashton Genty, arguably the best back in the draft, right? Travis Hunter, we've talked about him ad nauseum. Omarion Hampton, a guy that we talked about throughout the draft process, and of course Matt Golden out of Texas. So, all of these rookies on this list they're gonna get the reps. I fully believe it. We're gonna get to see a good look at these guys early on. So I'm fired up. I think Matthew Golden has just as much a chance as anyone to win that defensive rookie or offensive rookie of the year. Arguably Ashton Genty, Travis Hunter might give him a run for his money, but then again, Travis Hunter might be busy playing some defense, so you never know.
Yeah.
All I would say is that just shows what the quarterback class was this year too. I mean, I'm excited that Golden's on there, but there's only one quarterback that made the list. Last year that would have been that would have looked a lot different, right? So I think that we tracked down the numbers pretty well this past year in the draft season. Real happy with how we did that, man.
Yeah. Just as like a weird aside, I don't know if I've ever seen a season where a Heisman winning quarterback has less media coverage and less like just overall buzz than Cam Ward does going into the season.
I agree, man.
The guy won, it's just weird. Everybody's just kind of looking him over, passing him over. Just thought that was kind of an interesting storyline. If you want to know, according to Underdog, the seasoned over-under right now. So for Cam Ward, they got him set at 18.5 passing touchdowns is kind of the par. 31.99.5 passing yards, so 3,200 passing yards. Travis Hunter has an over-under set at 4.5 total receiving yards or receiving touchdowns. That is 9.5 total TDs. So they think he's going to get a bunch of TDs doing a bunch of other stuff. They have him set at 749.5 receiving yards, and they have him set with a 1.5 defensive interceptions. Meanwhile, Matthew Golden His stats now are at 4.5 receiving touchdowns over under or a 749.5 receiving yards. So
Dang, dude,
they project him having a pretty decent splash this year.
if he cracks 700 yards his rookie year, bruh, especially playing outside, like with Jayden Reed, you knew he was going to get a lot of touches. And what was it? I want to say he was just under 800, I believe, his rookie year. And then last year he cracked 800, he being Jayden Reed. You know what I need to do? Remember when we did that breakdown of Tucker Kraft compared to other great tight ends in Packers history of their rookie year? We need to look at the best rookie performances for wide receivers in Green Bay Packers history and see how close Jayden Reed was to that. Because if I remember correctly, Tim, didn't he break Sterling Sharp's rookie record or something? I seem like I remember us talking about that. Jayden Reed breaking.
Yep, yeah, he did. I think it was the most receptions by a rookie, I believe.
There you go. Judy with another super chat. Thank you, buddy. He says, Golden looks good in shorts, but when the pads come on with contact, he will look even better. He is so strong through contact, losing no speed. And his ability to track the ball, Drew, like seeing him pull up on those underthrown balls and time it just right, high point the ball, use his body. He's got excellent body control. Just one of those dudes that for me, I really, really think that's the stuff that's been lacking with our receivers a little bit. You know what I mean? Like with Jayden Reed, he had a little bit of a drop issue last year, but the year before, obviously his rookie year, he played great. We seen him in college when we looked at the college tape, especially the year before he came out of college. He made some great catches down the field, but nothing like what Matthew Golden put on tape. And again, I keep going back to the point too that the last two receivers that Brian Gutekunst had first round grades on that we know of, right, were Justin Jefferson and Brandon Ayuk. Those are the last two receivers that I know of that he had that Brian Gutekunst had first round grades on, because there was rumors that he wanted both of those guys in the first round, but they got snatched up, or they got traded up past in the draft process, or they were gone by the time they picked. But if that's the case, to me, that's what you've got to compare his evaluation skills when it comes to these receivers, because again, he took Christian Watson in the second round. I think that's panned out pretty good. Other than the injuries, Christian Watson averaging over 20 yards a catch last year. Jayden Reed was an absolute steal in the second round, what that dude did. So what that tells you is with Goody's scouting evaluation of Matthew Golden, he thinks that he's a better receiver than Christian Watson and Jayden Reed coming out of college. That says a lot, man. It really does. So, again, Drew, thank you for that super chat, buddy. We appreciate it, man. Let's see what else we got. Is there anything else y'all want to hit on here with Matthew Golden? Jacob, I know you were combing through some numbers over. You got anything else, man?
Not with Golden, no.
Okay. Anything else you want to hit on that's fresh on your mind right there that you were just looking at?
A little bit. Not sure if you guys have touched on it yet. Have you heard? This is more maybe of a Clayton talk because he's more of the salary cap guru type person. Is it odd, one, that Belton has not signed, and if not, why is it all of a sudden a trend that second rounders in the NFL are refusing to sign? And what I'm hearing is that it has to do something with guaranteed money.
Yeah, you can blame Tim's boy. That's who you can blame for that, Mr. Higgins. Yeah, so it was Jayden Higgins, right? Is that what it was? What was his name? Yeah. Tim, you're muted. You're muted.
Yes.
Was that who it was? Jayden Higgins. So he's the one, Jacob, to answer your question. It's becoming a little more of a trend for teams to go a little above and beyond on a rookie that they like a lot in the second round. They're giving them fully guaranteed contracts. So Higgins got a fully guaranteed contract in the second round. As soon as that happened, everybody that got drafted in the second round that hadn't signed their deal yet went, hit the brakes. Let's hold up on signing this deal just yet. I don't think Goody's going to fully guarantee it, but I'm sure they're maximizing their leverage there in that regard. So that's what I think it is, Jacob. I could be wrong. Everybody in the chat, let me know if you disagree with that. But I don't know.
Swing for the fences. You might hit a triple, right? Maybe they're looking to get some guaranteed money out of this deal, and we'll get it worked out.
He's going for the big ask.
Yep.
I thought you said something else. Lord have mercy. Greg Rice says guaranteed money and not wanting to get passed in money by someone drafted after them. That makes a lot of sense, Greg.
Yep.
For sure.
The money level is set though, right? It's just how much you're taking home, or how much you're guaranteed to take home. Because isn't Shamar Stewart's hang up the fact that they're trying to take the injury money or like off the field issue money?
And that got confirmed on the GM Shuffle the other day. You guys know how I told you it was the language in which they were trying not to guarantee. They wanted to be able to avoid the guaranteed money if he gets suspended. So it had nothing to do with anything else other than in the language of the contract. And to the best of my knowledge, I think there's 12 other teams that have done this now. They've utilized this. So what they're saying is if you get suspended, then we don't have to pay you your guaranteed money. All right. And Shamar Stewart was like, I'm not going to be the first person that y'all do this to. Now, he's not the first person in the NFL, but he would be the first person in the Cincinnati Bengals organization. So, from an agent standpoint, too, and to me, it feels like it's more Shamar taking it personal, but his agent is also, you don't want that stamp on your agency.
Right.
That you were the first person that signed with the Bengals organization where you agree that, hey, yeah, if we have a disciplinary suspension, then, and for me, though, I look at it from the organization standpoint, just to play devil's advocate. It's like, why are you worried about getting suspended? You know what I mean? Like, to me, if I go to a job interview and someone is, just there you go. If I go to Mickey D's, keep that up there, Tim. This is perfect for the conversation. If I go to Mickey D's and I say, hey man, look, I need some money, man. You know what I mean? Lot bills due. I need a job here. And they said, all right, cool. We'll pay you. What do you think you're worth? And I'm trying to play modest. I'd say
$1 million.
I'm worth $23 an hour, right? That's what I say that, right? So now let's say, they say, hey, what do you think about $18 an hour?
And we'll throw in a McDouble at the end of every shift.
Oh my God, you kidding me, dude? Give me that Oreo McFlurry.
McDouble with mac sauce. Ooh-wee.
Oh my gosh, man. So if they offer that, right, you sound like you're probably going, that's a lot of money to work at McDonald's, ain't it? Right? And I don't even know what's minimum wage now on average nationally. Is it a national
7 something?
I don't know. Depends on what state. What state do you live in?
I live in Tennessee, Tim. What's your minimum wage up there? I want to know Wisconsin. Do you know?
Are you a tipped employee or not tipped employee?
Not at McDonald's.
I
don't know. They're tipping fast food
Thank you, Drew.
nowadays, guys. I don't know.
$7.25.
I told you 7 something.
Well, I don't trust you, Emilio. Okay, if you haven't called. So, if you go in there and they said, "Hey, minimum wage is $7.25, we'll give you $15 an hour," right? You go, "Oh, damn, that's all right. Oh, really? All right, that's a good deal." And they said, "But here's the deal, man. You can't get arrested." All right. If you get tossed in the clink, if you get arrested for anything, then you're not going to get paid a dime. What kind of person is going to go, whoa, wait a minute now? You understand what am I the only one that's seeing it this way? Is it me being a business owner that I'm looking at it through the business owner's eyes as opposed to the employee's eyes? I don't know. Does that make sense or not, guys? Oh, Greg Rice coming in here. Oh man, the average hourly wage for McDonald's employees in the U.S. is around $13.27.
So you'd be a manager at 15, Clay. So what? I mean, that's tough. I see it the same way you're seeing it though. Like, how are you going to sign up for a job and be like, all right, I'm ready to pour concrete at 6 a.m. But just in case I get pulled over on the way home, I better be getting paid for tomorrow's job too.
And we're so far off the rails. The chat's throwing up all the numbers. The point is, am I the only one that doesn't see a problem with them saying, hey, look, man, you don't get suspended, okay, or we're going to take your guaranteed money? And I want to get your all's take, and I want to know the chat. Would y'all agree to that or not? I would agree to it.
I think at a bare minimum, it's not too much to ask, like, hey, don't get suspended.
Right.
What are we talking about here? Come on.
Yeah. And then to disagree with it, not only disagree with it, Jacob, but the way he disagreed, he walked out on the last practice and he took shots at the organization to the media as well, saying that y'all want to argue more than you want to win, is what he said. Something like that. Y'all want to be right more than you want to win or something.
Yeah.
What do you think, Jacob?
Yeah, I think that specifically with Cincinnati, this may have to do with also, I think there's a lack of respect for the front office. That just with the way Cincinnati's handled their offseason, with the way they've handled their vets, their re-signings, their extensions, for whatever reason, that just seems like a raging hot dumpster fire, and it's to the point where rookies feel comfortable dressing down that team in public. You know what I'm saying? Like when they haven't even really, when they haven't inked a contract yet. Like you technically aren't even really a member of that organization, and they feel confident enough walking in there and kind of dressing them down, which, that's something I definitely am thankful that the Packers aren't dealing with. And just real quick to round out some of these stats, somebody in the chat asked what Jayden Reed's over under is at. They've only got him at 649.5 yards, underdog over under for the season. And then Tuck Norris, they have him at 3.5 touchdowns, 574.5 yards. I'm telling you, take the over on all these.
Especially the touchdowns. Hammer the over on the touchdowns. They got 2 touchdowns off of wide screens last year.
What was that number on touchdowns?
Which one? For Tuck Norris, it was 3.5.
3.5. I was listening to Move the Sticks. DJ and Buck were saying Kyle Pitts has scored an average of 2.5 touchdowns a year. Dude is 10 touchdowns in 4 years. They go, wow, we swung and a miss on that one.
That was bad.
That's wild, man. Those numbers are crazy.
Real quick, Josh Jacobs, half. They have him at a 0.5 receiving touchdowns. That's the one I'd hammer. I feel like that's going to be – I think he's going to have a receiving touchdown within the first 4 weeks easy. They have him at 10.5 rushing touchdowns and then 1,099.5 rushing touchdowns. I'm sorry, rushing yards for the season.
Mm-hmm.
I just really think they're sleeping on the Packers' abilities. I'd take the over almost on every single one of these categories. Easy.
Yep. Yeah. There you go. All right. Let's move along now to Jayden Reed, a little Jayden Reed conversation here, if that's all right with you guys. This came across the old Twitter world the other day, and I thought this was very, very interesting. The tweet said, it was from Football Insights. I'm telling you, it's one of the best follows on X, at FBALL_insights, all right? The yards per route ran leaders when 3+ wide receivers are on the field over the last 2 seasons. So for the last 2 years, 11 personnel, which is the most commonly used offensive personnel. These are the guys that led in yards per route ran. Let me know if you'd like to have these guys on your team as a wide receiver. Puka Nacua at 2.99 led the way. Nico Collins, 2.91. A.J. Brown, 2.7. Drake London, 2.6. Tyreek Hill, 2.6. Rashee Rice, 2.5. Justin Jefferson, 2.5. Brian Thomas, 2.5. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 2.5. CeeDee Lamb, 2.5. Ladd McConkey, 2.5. Mike Evans, 2.3. Jamar Chase, 2.3. And then Jayden Reed at 2.2. So Jayden Reed was, I don't know what number would that be there. It'd be what, 2, 4, 6, 8, probably about what, 13 or 14th in the league in yards per route ran in 11 personnel. You guys understand that those are number one receiver top numbers. And again, people say, well, why isn't his overall yardage higher? Look at his snap count the last 6-7 games of the season. They took his snap count way down because he was banged up, right? And yes, he had a drop issue. I got you. But even with that, look at his yards per route ran, how he made up for it,
Yep.
And I want to point out, like I put in this tweet up here, I said, Jayden Reed right on the heels of Jamar Chase and Mike Evans. And you guys remember when everybody was screaming trade for DK Metcalf? He has more yards per route ran than DK Metcalf, Christian Kirk, George Kittle, Khalil Shakir, Chris Godwin. Like I said, DK Metcalf, Jalen Waddle, who's getting paid bank, if I remember correctly, Malik Neighbors, who everybody was just crazy over the, all-world Malik Neighbors last year as a rookie. Cooper Kupp. We know
Malik Neighbors needed a quarterback, though, so we'll see what happens.
Cortland Sutton, Michael Pittman, T. Higgins. Y'all remember that name?
Oh, yeah.
T. Higgins. And, by the way, Devontae Adams. So
it's interesting you say Bird's putting up, comparable to wide receiver number one kind of numbers. Look at the list. I mean, A.J. Brown, Drake London, Tyreek Hill, Justin Jefferson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jamar Chase. I mean, arguably, like, those are all number one caliber dudes with their teams. So clearly Bird's in good company right here on this list.
Yeah, definitely.
The only question I have, Clay, is what's that 99% on his column?
That's the percentage of routes, okay? So I think what that means is the percentage of routes they ran for their team in 11 personnel. So, like,
gotcha.
But here's the thing about yards per route ran, you can kind of throw that out the window. It's not a total stat. It's
Right.
like every time they run a route, whether they got the ball or not, this isn't yards per target either. This is every time they ran a route, they averaged that many yards gained. So even when they wasn't getting the football, this is all factored in. Does that answer
Gotcha.
your question, Emilio?
Yep.
Yeah. So again, when you take that into consideration, him running 99% of the routes in 11 personnel, and then look at like Nico Collins. Of course, he got hurt last year, right? Drake London, 56%. Everybody loves Drake London. He only ran 56% of the routes that were ran in 11 personnel for the Falcons, if I'm understanding the stat correctly. So main thing I'm keyed in on, though, is that yards per route ran, Emilio. Trying to figure out what would TSHR be or what that means. You nailed it.
Yeah.
Nailed it. So anyway, just another stat that how many times are we going to look at this? Passer rating when targeted through the roof, right? He was what had the highest passer rating when targeted amongst all wide receivers in the entire NFL last year in Jayden Reed, right? His yak yardage was through the freaking roof. I don't know what else he's got to do to earn the respect that, hey, this dude is a legit one of the best slot receivers in the game.
He took a step back last year, Clayton.
I know it, man. It's just crazy that people still, and it comes down to emotion is what it is. It's, he has a drop. And again, I remember the one that Twitter lit up over was on that 4th down where Jordan missed him. He had to dive for it, hit his hands, and everybody's like, well, hit your hands, you got to catch it. So I thought this was another really cool statistic that just kind of backs up the top of player that Jayden Reed has been. And again, he had better numbers this year than he did his rookie year. He got better. I think he's continuing to ascend. I really do. So,
Share, according to Jacob, and United Bates has it as in NFL receiving stats refer to target share, which represents the percentage of a team's total pass targets directed to a specific receiver during a game or season.
Ooh, I like
Thank you
that.
for that, Bates. So when you look at that number, 99% of the routes, right, that was ran in 11 personnel for the Packers, and he only got 20% of the targets is essentially what it is, target share, right? And you look at some of the numbers of the other guys, like Amon-Ra St. Brown probably leads the way here at 29%, A.J. Brown at 28%, right? So Malik Neighbors got 30.5%. They were just chucking and ducking to Malik Neighbors the entire time, right? So looked like Devontae Adams, 28.2. No surprise there with Aaron Rodgers being the quarterback. So anything else there on the Jayden Reed statistic? I thought that was kind of cool there. And thank you, Drew, for the super sticker, buddy.
No, I think that's good numbers to check in on this time of year. Jayden Reed, man, he's a dog. We're hoping that he blows up, right? Get us over 1,000 and see what happens.
Absolutely.
I mean, that is pretty crazy just because of like we constantly hear the same old story. If we don't have an X, we don't have a number one. We don't have an X, we don't have a number one. You look at that grouping right there. That's most of those guys are a solidified, bona fide X number one. He's smack dab right there with those numbers.
Yeah, completely agree, man. All right, that's going to do it for hour one. For those of you listening on the pod, we will see you on the other side for hour two. We're going to talk a little Carrington Valentine, maybe getting into a little Ed policy talk as well. We'll see you over there.